Hey everybody, we are back with some updates on the car. As you probably saw from our last video, it runs. So we're really excited about that. I've been basically trying to get it into streetable, runnable. So I've actually been able to take the car out and do some light driving around the neighborhood, which was good. Told me some things about the car after we got it running. It idles really nice now, and I'm very pleased with all that. So you probably see in the last video. One of the first things I came across is that I got kind of a death wobble when I was driving the car after I get up about 35 miles an hour, and determined that was really from the car sitting on the tires and the wheels themselves. The tires developed flat spots. So that aspect basically is changing the tires, right? Because the tires were, back in the 90s. So that together with, I was concerned about the front wheel bearings and making sure that those had the, some fresh grease in them at a minimum to make sure that the bearings were okay. So what I ended up doing is putting new tires on the vehicle, and I chose these Toyo Extensa HP, and so what was on there before was a Toyo Proxys, and they were a hot tire back in the day. So Toyo doesn't make that specific model anymore, but they make this Extensa HP2 model, and it really looks nice in the car. Kind of an aggressive tread pattern. It's not a ZR pattern or ZR rated tire. It's a V-rated tire, which is fine because that's originally what the car had, was VR Gator backs, which I think the Goodyear Gator backs were a hot tire in the 80s. So yeah, I'm pleased with these, and I've done some driving on these tires as well too. So night and day difference. The wobble's gone. Yeah, it's very smooth. The alignment's off a little bit, but we'll get the car aligned as well too as we continue to do some more work on it. After I got it running, the car was really low on transmission fluid, and the reason why it was low on transmission fluid, of course, was the transmission line, and I did a repair on that to get it fixed, and so that's all good now. And I bent a piece of tube, connected it up with a union, and then I got some transmission fluid, and I decided to do a full transmission oil change together with the filter. And so I just got done doing that and putting the filter in and the new pan gasket, cleaned up the pan really nice, and I put the new transmission fluid in there as well too. I've got about 4.5 quarts in there for now, and then once I start it up and get it running, I'll make sure that it gets going. So with that, the other thing that fluid that I haven't changed yet is the coolant. And so the coolant it looks good. There's no rust in it. It doesn't look really scaly. So for a 25-year-old car, no surprises there. But of course, I don't want to run it and drive on that old coolant any much more than just the little amount that I've done already. So in order to flush the coolant out of this, it's kind of a procedure of basically draining everything out of the radiator petcock. And then each side of the block, there's a plug, and then another one disguised as the NOx sensor. You take the NOx sensor out. So you basically get all the coolant out of the radiator, you get the coolant out of the sides of both sides of the block. Then you plug it all back up together, and you end up putting fresh water in there. I'm going to use distilled water because I don't want to have any minerals or any other contaminants in the system. There's a conjecture about that as far as if it's safe to do that, or I shouldn't say safe, but there's a lot of chatter on the boards about not using anything but distilled water, and some people say it's fine, but I'm going to use the distilled water thing because I know the minerals can build up and clog radiators. That's kind of why people are proposing the distilled water approach, and so I've used that before in other cars as well too, so that's how I'm going to go at it. So I got 2 full gallons of Prestone. I got my big coolant catch pan, and so I'll start doing that. I'll probably put together a time lapse of some of those things. The other thing as well too is I bought coolant hoses and assorted clamps, and part of the challenge was just trying to get the right clamps. A couple of these hoses are Dayco hoses, a couple of these are AC Delco hoses. It was hard to find hoses again here as well too. But I've got the right deal on it. As long as they're a reputable brand, I'm cool with that. So that's good. So we'll replace the hoses as well too. I also have been doing a little bit of compounding work on the car. I did compound the hood and the roof just to take off some of the haze and I think I remember I mentioned last time I did do some rubbing compound work on the car just to try to take some of the oxidation off the paint. So now the paint's really starting to pop. So I've got to start on it because I just wanted to dig into it just to see if the paint would come back. A lot of black because it's single stage paint. A lot of black comes out into the material, but that's what I've got the pile of buffing supplies and related. So I just got basically clean those up with some dish soap, and we'll get at it again because it's just basically taking some of the layers of the paint off to get the shine back. So the other thing that I started working on as well is that these window seals are very old, like this. They're just rock solid. So on the driver's side, I've replaced that one with a newer one, and it's a bit of a process getting these off, but you can see how nice and pliable they are now. This one was all cracked. It had a bunch of cracks in it because it was that brittle from age. But once you get these replaced, you get them in, it's just like that brand new car. So so that's great, and pulled that together. The other thing that was wrong with this door as well too is the driver's side door power lock wasn't working, so I bought a new actuator for the lock to fix the driver's door lock, and that I went with AC Delco as well too because there's a factory bracket on there that I just wanted to bolt to, and a lot of the aftermarket ones want you to drill out the factory bracket and kind of massacre the door a bit, and so I didn't want to do that. So I spent a little bit extra money for an AC Delco lock actuator. So now we got full power locks, both driver's side and passenger side, which is really cool. And then I also replaced this fitting here, and I got that from Hawks Motorsports, and they shipped it off in just a couple of days. And when I put the door back together, because this was all torn up and ripped, a little bit of wear on the lock buttons, but that's fine, and adds some character to the car. So yeah, so that door is now back to where it needs to be, and we'll do the same thing on the other door and replace the windows felt on that as well too. So yeah. So I think that's the update on the car. As you can see, I'm continuing to basically do a lot of package, piles of packages. I buy a lot of stuff. Some stuff I've got to return back just off of things I've fitted and bought. But again, it's great finding the materials you need to get some of the job done. Hey everybody, so we've ripped into taking the coolant system down, starting to rebuild that. Did a great job getting all the hoses out. Of course, what's preceded that was getting all the coolant out. So, which is really good. There's not very much sediment at all in the system, so that's very good to see that there's no internal issues or scale or rust or sediment to that regards. I've had an IROC in the past that sat for many years and it was in an unrecoverable state with so much rust in the block I couldn't get anything out of it. So that's not the case here, so that's great. So we did take the coolant out. I put it all in a bucket just to kind of catch it. It's got a bit of a darkness to it, a little bit of brown, nothing really bad, but for the most part it's pretty decent, so that's good. And then just trying to get the coolant hoses off is, you know, a challenge. So if you look at the motor here, you know, just trying to get this off was a bit, and then there's some crystallization built up in the inner part right here, so I'm kind of on the fence if I should replace the thermostat too or not. I think I'm going to flush it once and see how it goes. On the next run out, maybe that stuff will flush out. I think I'll take that hose back off and see if it looks better. I did get a shop vac in there and suck out and scraped out whatever I could with a small wire brush. The other big thing was this bypass hose for the throttle body, which basically, you know, helps it warm up. So that hose is pretty bad. And then both the heater hoses, and one of the heater hoses typically has this heater hose that goes to a pipe down on the frame, and then the pipe comes up from the frame and then goes into here. Someone's bypassed that whole assembly and just gone with a straight heater hose from here to there, which I'm okay with. I think there's a lot of problems with those pipes on the frame rail. They get corroded, crummy. They're absolutely impossible to get to, you can see, because there's not much clearance either. But I'm still going to do a little bit of research before I proceed with what I want to do there, if I want to bring it back to original or if I just want to go with what was put in place there. Some of these hoses are cut to fit, like this one here was a Daco. I got it, you know, trimmed where it needs to be, and I'm using these really nice Breeze hose clamps. They're really solid. Another good one's a Trident clamp as well, but nothing cheap or chintzy on the quality for hose clamps either. So I guess I'll plug their brand together with the Daco. Hoses are really nice quality, and AC Delco as well. So yeah, that's kind of an update on that. There's some time lapse of me fumbling underneath the car trying to get that stuff out of there. But if you want to look at some of the hoses, you know, this is some of the condition of these. They're, you know, they're pretty spongy. You don't want to see hoses start to bell out like this, because that's eventually where they get really soft, and that's where they'll spring leaks. You know, this one's the lower radiator hose, and it's pretty spongy in here as well too, and so that's right up by the water pump. So you know, that's a good thing to replace. Same with this one heater hose here. You can see how it's kind of belling out. That's kind of an indicator that hoses are not in a healthy state or condition. And this one was seeping too, and so it's kind of spongy, you know, and they were ready to go. So I'm glad I'm deciding to change these out. So that's my foray of heater hoses, and you can see they got the old school wire clamps that, you know, came from the factory. They're kind of a one-time use, because eventually they get all bent up and twisted as well too. And then there's these other, I don't know what kind of clamps you call these, but where they're kind of like a top hat clamp, and it basically, you know, pulls the material each way. So yeah, they're pretty toast as well too. So I'm gonna replace everything, like I said, with like the Breeze hose clamps. Some of these other ones here, like this is an Ideal clamps, aren't too bad either. That's a good brand as well. So so these are a couple of them that were on there. So I don't know, maybe the heater core got replaced at some point. I don't know, maybe that was the reason for the change out on the heater hoses. It's all hard to say. I've gotten to the point of getting all the coolant hoses going and connected those up. Now those upper heater hoses here, and then the bypass hose underneath the throttle body, so that's all done. And then the upper and lower radiator hoses. This one was cut to fit. Again, turned out really nice. So now the next thing I'm doing here is actually flushing out the coolant. And so I've drained the coolant, and I've actually run a cycle of water through it once, and basically going through with distilled water. So you can see the original first drain, the second one with the just water only, which basically flushes out the rest of the coolant. Got the heater going, so basically all that goes into the heater core. And then I will do another cycle and drop of the coolant and then try to get it to the point where it's actually clear. That's kind of what I read as far as the service manual and others for the procedure. And so there's the two sides of the block that I'm basically, you know, opening the plugs on the driver's side of the block, and then on the passenger side, draining that. And then there's a little petcock on the bottom of the radiator, and that thing basically starts to drain. It doesn't really drain smoothly. It kind of ripples to the middle, but the coolant catching pan I have does a pretty good job of catching it. So now I'm ready to drain it a third time and then refill it with water until I'm going to keep doing this until I get it clear. So probably 2 more times, and then I will put a gallon of regular coolant in it to get a 50-50 mix. So yep, that's it. So we'll check back after that, but I think for this part of the video we're going to be done with flushing out coolant. So thanks for checking in.